Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you? Okay.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Long weekend. And over the weekend, our cases of COVID-19 jumped. At one day, 1,000 something.
Yes.
It was on what? On Sunday or Monday? No, Saturday. I think it's Saturday, right?
Yes.
Saturday.
Cases was up to 1,000 plus. So we don't think this PKP will be over soon. You know, probably we're going to have a longer period. Anyhow, as long as everybody is fine, that's good. Okay, today we're going to finish up chapter number 1. We're going to look at the other application, which is the demand function, market equilibrium, demand supply. And then we're going to do chapter number 4, that is on the inequalities or linear programming, which would be our second topic. Okay, before we move on, do you have any question or any comment regarding the homework question I give you on that break-even problem? Okay, it's okay? All right, okay, good. So let's go to the other application, which is on the market equilibrium. Now, when we talk about market equilibrium, this is on the microeconomics application, which is on the demand supply. When you have a market, how do you get the market equilibrium? We obtain the market equilibrium by equating the demand function and the supply function. So when the demand function and the supply function intersect, you get the market equilibrium. And the point would be the market equilibrium, or the point on the market equilibrium we call equilibrium quantity and the equilibrium price. So it's like a system of two equations. You have the demand and the supply. So you want to find equilibrium. So that is our application of the linear function. Now, when you look at the market, in this perspective, what we mean is we're going to look at a market of a good. So we are talking about a good, one good or service. Example would be a market of rice or market for handphones. Okay, so it's a market of a good. And you have the consumers who will demand the good. So that's where you will get the demand function. So consumers, they demand. And then you have the firms. They are the one who supply. So you got the supply function. All right. So here you got the demanders, or we can call it demanders or consumers. And firms are the suppliers. So when the supply function from the firms interact with the demand function, consumers, we will get the market equilibrium, which is the market equilibrium price, or we just call it equilibrium price, or sometimes we just call it market price, and equilibrium quantity, or we just call it market quantity. Now, when we talk about the market, we are looking at the type of market, what we call perfect competition. So in this sense, you know, we are looking at the supply-demand function. We are looking at a market, competitive market, all right? So you got the supply function, the demand function, and the market we're talking about is the competitive market. Now let's look at the demand and the supply function. What are they? So first, okay, number one, we're going to find or come up with the demand function. Now, anybody know about demand function from your microeconomic principles? How does the demand function look like? Huh? How does it look like? You know, from your
Downward.
How?
Negative relationship.
It's a negative relationship. It's a negative relationship between price and quantity. So it is downward sloping. Okay, so that is the demand function. So when you write demand function, you recall again, you know, the linear function, you got y equal to f of x, that is equal to mx plus b. So that is the idea. Now for demand function, its relationship about what? Its relationship about two variables between price and quantity. Okay, so price quantity, let's say, okay, say we say the price is a function of quantity. So P is a function of X. So P is the price, X is the quantity. P is function of X. Or, you know, sometimes it can be the other way around. The X can be a function of the price. So for the demand supply function, it can be either this one, P as a function of X, or it can be X a function of P. Both can be done. But we're going to start with this. Okay, we're going to start with the first one, P as a function of X. In other words, the price we consider as the Y, which is the dependent variable, and the X will, oh no, I'm sorry, and the X is the X, it's the independent variable. So that is our specification in terms of the dependent variable. So when you get the price as a function of X, or in this book here, they use Q. Okay, so book we use Q. Or I think we just use Q, follow the book. Or we can use X, doesn't matter. Or P as a function of Q, right? Where P is the price. So you remember price is what? RM per unit, okay? Or dollar per unit. Or can be dollar per unit or RM per unit. And Q is the quantity of the good, quantity of the product or good in units, whatever the units are, or whatever the unit is. So we can either use Q or you use X. I think I use Q because in the book they use, yeah, sometimes they use X, sometimes they use Q. For the break even, we use X. For the demand supply, we use Q. So it doesn't matter, all right? You can use either X or Q. So you have already the specification of the relationship, and we know, okay? That's what we know. We know the demand function is negatively sloped. So M is less than 0, okay? And the B is bigger than 0. So the function is going downward, you know, negatively sloped, or we can say negative relationship. Okay, negative relationship between the price and Q. In other words, if Q goes up, what about the price that we are willing to pay? if there are so many units in the market, you know, too many handphone in the market. Okay, what about the price?
Price will decrease.
The price will go down. Okay, we are willing to pay less. If the price or if the quantity decreases, we are willing to pay more. Okay, so the price on the demand function is the price we are willing to pay. Okay, price consumers willing to pay at different quantity. So the price on the demand function indicate should be the price consumers willing to pay at different quantity. All right. And of course, we know the relationship. If the Q goes up, the price go down. Okay. All right. Now let's find the demand function. Or before we do that, look at the graphical presentation. Now, if you look at the graph, we know the graph Q is the horizontal axis because we specify P as a function of Q. Okay, so Q will go the horizontal axis, price will go vertical axis, and the demand function will look like that. Okay, downward sloping. M negative, B here is positive. So that is the demand function. And for application, normally we will consider only, okay, for application, the price bigger or equal to 0, Q bigger or equal to 0. In other words, generally for application, we are only considering X bigger or equal to 0, Y bigger or equal to 0. In other words, that would be the only part of the graph that we are going to look at. The first, X, Y bigger equal to 0, X bigger equal to 0. So we are only looking at this part of the function. We call it quadrant 1. Okay, so that is the only portion, the only quarter of the graph that you look at, because in application there is no such thing of negative variables. Okay, so mainly we are talking about the positive quantities. So the first quadrant. So that is in application. Now let's come back to the function. How do you get the demand function? Suppose we are given information. So here we're going to apply you remember how you got a function? That means you're given some information, then you can get the supply. Oh no, I'm sorry, the function. The linear function. Okay. So we're given some information, we can get the function. So let's say we are given 2 points on the demand function. Let's say you have the price and you have the quantity, and then you want to find the price. All right. So that is what we are going to do. So if you look at the example, I want you to look at example number 5. Okay, look at example number 5 on page 106 or 1.6. Maybe if you use a different edition, the page number is different, Then what we mean here is example 5, 1.6. In my book, it's page 107. Okay, I want everybody to look at that thing. You have example 5, market equilibrium. You want to find the demand function. And of course, in this example, we're also looking at the supply function. But we just focus on the demand function, and then we do the supply. Okay, read the example. Okay, here, if you look at the example, you are given 2 points. All right, you're given a price and quantity. In other words, 2 points. And you want to find the demand function. So if you look, if you just read that thing, what are the points? Okay, what are the points that indicate a point for demand function? So here you want to get the demand function, or you want to derive, okay, the demand function given 2 points. Okay, given 2 points. In other words, we have to find the slope, and then you have to get the intercept. So what are the points? If you read that thing, what are the points? You are talking about, okay, first we're talking about a group of wholesalers will buy. Okay, so there are a group of wholesalers. And then you have another group, the manufacturers. Okay, so you have the manufacturers, you have the wholesalers. Because they are given here, you know, in this example, you have to get the demand and the supply at the same time. All right. So you got to get the demand function. That means who is the one demand the product or the good? Is it the manufacturers or is it the wholesalers?
Wholesaler.
The wholesalers. Okay. Because you have the manufacturers. Okay. And then you have the wholesalers. Now, if you look at the market between the manufacturers and the wholesalers, of course, this will be the buyer. This is the sellers lah. Okay, these are the sellers, and these are the buyers. Now, if you look at the other market, another level of the market, you have the wholesalers, and then you have the retailers. Now, here in this market, who are the buyers or the consumers? The retailers or the wholesalers?
Retailer.
Here, the retailer. Okay, the retailers are the buyers. Okay, here are the sellers or the suppliers. Another level of the market, you have the retailers, okay, and then you have whom? Retailers, and you have the consumers. Then who are the of course, the consumers will be the buyers lah. Okay, so you have to look at the level of the market. So here, in this example, the wholesalers will contribute to the demand function, or we get the demand function by the relationship of the quantities and the price by the wholesalers. All right. So we know that you want to relate P as a function of Q. In other words, the 2 points given, okay, 2 points given will be P1, Q1, and then P2, Q2. Now, you make the choice, okay, because they're given 2 points. So you can select one of the points that be the first point, and then the other point will be the second point. Now, if you look at the example there, what are the points? You see here, 1 point, you buy 50, the price 200, okay? So you buy 50, price 200. Okay, I want to ask you, is this correct or is not correct? This one. Is it the correct ordered pair of the point, which is consistent, should be consistent from the specification of my function? I have P function of Q, and I write down the points P1, Q1. Is it right or is it not right?
Q1, P1.
Should be what? Should be Q1, P1. So that is wrong. Okay, I made a mistake. So should be what? Should be the P1, Q1. I mean, the first point should be Q1, P1. And then the second point should be Q2, P2. Because when you set the point, the ordered pair point, that must be consistent with the dependent variable, independent variable. Okay, all right, good. So there are 2 points. First point will be what? They're going to buy 50, price 200. So first point, 50, price 200. And then you have the second point, buy 30, price 300. So 30, price 300. So what you do here is you find the slope. Okay. Now what is the slope of the linear function? We know, okay, that is what we know. M is equal to what? M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Of course, this comes from the slope delta y over delta x. So I want you to find, okay, I want you to find the slope for this function in terms of P and Q. Get me the slope. Of course, you know the slope is given in that example, but I want you to determine it, okay? Determine it in terms of the difference between the prices and the difference between the quantities. Okay, do it now. What is given in the book, they give you the difference in the numbers. Okay, you got 200, 300 minus 200 over 30 minus 50. But what are the differences? What are the differences? Which one is the difference in the price? Which one is the difference in quantity? So you give me the first step, all right? Give me the first step before you get that value -5. What is the slope about, you know, in terms of the price and the quantities? Okay, do it now for that demand function. Okay, you got it. How do you get the 300 minus 200 and 30 minus 50? So you go back from the definition of the slope, all right? Slope, generally y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So for the demand function, M will be equal to what? Since you have P function of Q, so here should be P2, okay? P2 minus P1 over Q2 minus Q1. Then that will be equal to P2 is 300, P1 is 200, divided by 30 minus 50. Then you got whatever is written in the book. And you got -5. So the slope is -5. Okay. Now, once you get the slope, so you have the function P equal to -5 Q plus B. Now you need to find B. Okay. Now find B, we substitute one of the point, either point, into the function. So say you substitute Q1, P1, which is equal to 50, 200 into the P. So what we get? We get P1, which is 200, might equal to -5 multiplied by 50, the quantity, plus B. So what do you get B? You will get B equal to 450. So the demand function would be equal to, so therefore our demand function is P equal to -5Q plus 450. That is our demand function. Okay, so demand function, as you can see, the slope is negative, intercept positive, and it will be downward sloping. So that is how you get the demand function. Okay, any question? Now, the next one will be the supply function. That means the sellers. So how do you get the supply function? The supply function give you the prices or the different prices of firms willing to sell at different quantities. You will still have P as a function of Q. Okay, price function of Q. Of course, you know, you can do it P function of price, that okay too. But we're going to do it this one. Okay, so P is a function of Q. Now supply. What do you know about the supply function from principles of micro? How does it look like?
Positive relationship.
You have a positive relationship between the price, between the quantity and the price. Okay, quantity goes up, the price goes up, the other way around. So the slope will be equal to, or before we got the slope, the price will be equal to mx plus b, where m here bigger than 0, all right? B, okay, b, the intercept, it can be either bigger than 0, it can be equal to 0, it can be less than 0. So B, we don't worry, okay? It can be up there, it can be below. I mean the B can be 0 or it can be negative. So B, we don't specify that. It can be any number. But the most important thing is you got M positive or equal to 0. I think similarly for the demand function, the slope can also be negative. Yeah. Did I specify that the M? Okay, the M can also be positive. So we make it less restrictive. M less or equal to 0. All right. So that is on the supply function. So again here, you find the demand function or the supply function given S means supply, given some information. So let's say the most, I mean, the thing that requires you the most work will be 2 points, okay? Because if you have a point and you have the slope, that will be easier to do. So again, you have 2 points. Let's look at example number 5. All right, example number 5, you know the what? The manufacturers, they are the suppliers. So here information comes from the manufacturers, which are the suppliers, and that will give you the relationship between the price and the quantity. So we already know the relationship, and you want to find first, okay, the slope, and you are given the 2 points. So what are the points? The points, you call the points x1, y1, P1, no, X1, Y1, X2, Y2. In this case, it is what? It is, I'm sorry, we use Q. Because last time we used X. This time use Q because I want to be consistent with the book. So Q. So first point will be Q1, P1. Second point, Q2, P2. So what are the points? The points we'll get from the manufacturers. So willing to supply 20, price 210. So you got 1 point, which is 20, 210. Now the second point, 210, oh no, 30 and 230. So 30, 230. So this is the price and the quantity that the firm is willing to supply. So you're given 2 points. Same thing here. All right. First, we know the function should be P as a function of MQ plus B. So you got that function already specified. So you want to find the slope. So what is the slope? What difference of the, what ratio, you know? The ratio should be difference in what variable over the difference in what variable. We already get the number, you know, the numbers are given in the book. In the example, they give you the numbers, but how do you get that number? How do you get 230 minus 210? What is the difference there? The difference in what variable? P or Q? So again, P, okay? So the slope is delta P over delta Q. It's come from delta Y over delta X. And that is equal to P2 minus P1 over Q2 minus Q1. And that is equal to, okay, given the points, you have 230 minus 210 divided by 30 minus 20. So you will get 2, okay? You will get 20 over 10. So that is 20 over 10, which is equal to 2. So the slope, as you see, is positive, all right? So when you got the slope, okay, slope M equal to 2, okay, I want you to find B. Okay, do it now, get B. The book here, they use Q2, P2. I want you to use the first point, okay? Use 20 to 10, correct? Use find B using that first point, okay? Don't use the second point, use the first point. And you will get 170. Okay, you got it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you will get 170. Everybody got 170? If you don't, go home, redo it. So the demand function, or the supply function, I'm sorry. So the supply function, we get P equal to 2Q plus 170. Now the market equilibrium, okay, the next thing that we need to do is we discuss about the market equilibrium. Now the market equilibrium would be shown by the following function. I show you the graph first. We've got Q, 0, P. We have the demand function, okay, which is downward sloping. And you have the supply function, which is the upward sloping. So the system here is a system of two equations, namely demand and supply, So you want to determine that equilibrium. So we call it E. And at that equilibrium will correspond to some point of or some value of the Q. You call it star, Q star, and P star. So for equilibrium, you must have the condition, okay? Demand equal supply, right? Demand equal supply. That is the condition for equilibrium. So you will get the demand equal to supply. We do this by example afterwards. And then the solution will be the equilibrium. We call it E, okay? Where the equilibrium price, Q, equal to Q star. That is called the equilibrium quantity. Or we can call it market quantity. And P is equal to P star. We call it equilibrium price, or the market price. So that is our equilibrium. Now for equilibrium, the condition is demand equal supply. So make sure that condition we know, okay? Because that is how you define the equilibrium. The demand function equal to the supply function. So let's look at the example again. You have the market for, the example that we were looking at is the market for dryers, okay? That is the market for dryers. So you just write on the dryers, and then you got the Q and P. So for this market of dryers, you want to find market equilibrium. So for the dryer market, we already have the supply function. Okay, so market equilibrium is determined by demand equal supply. Now the demand function, we already know it is equal to negative 5Q plus 450. That equal to the supply function, which we already have found, 2Q plus 170. So now you solve for the Q. How much Q do we get? You bring out the Q to one side. I have 7Q. And then you bring 5 to that side, you got 7Q. And then you got 450 minus 170. That one, what is the value?
280.
170, that will be
180.
180. Okay, thank you. So that is 180. So
200.
Q is equal to
280.
divided by 7.
280, sir.
280. Okay, 280. So 280 divided by 7, you will get
40.
40. 4,
Yeah.
0. So it's 40. So Q star is equal to 40. All right. So the market quantity, or you can say the equilibrium quantity, the equilibrium quantity is 40 units of dryers. Or you can say the market quantity will be 40 units of dryers. So next, you want to find the price. Okay, you want to find the price. What you do, since you got the Q, okay, which is Q star, so you substitute that value of Q star into either the demand or the supply function. Okay, substitute Q star equal to 40 into the demand or supply. Now that's your choice. Okay, substitute into either one of these. All right. If you look at the book, the book, they don't say what they substitute into. They just give you the price equal to 250. Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to substitute. You choose, okay? You choose whatever you want, either the demand or the supply. Substitute Q equal to 40, what you will get the price. The price should be, if you look at the book, should be 250. So get that 250 by substitution. Okay, some of you substitute into the supply, some of you substitute into the demand. And let's see, we should have 250, same answer. Okay, do it now. Okay, you got it? Okay, if anybody substitute 40 into the demand function. Anybody substitute into the demand function?
Yes.
Okay, what do you get? Do you get 250?
Yes.
Now, if you substitute into the demand function,
Yes.
then what we get will be
250
P,
also.
okay, equal to 2 multiplied by Q, which is, berapa tadi?
40.
Q 40. Okay, I'm sorry, Q is 40. 40 plus 170.
7.
So you got
250.
200.
250.
Yeah.
2 times 40 is 80. 80 plus 170. So that is 250. Okay, anybody substitute into the supply function?
Yes.
Okay, so if you substitute into the S, okay,
So I think
you got P equal to negative 5 multiplied by 40 plus 450. So, did you get 200?
150.
250.
250.
Okay, so you should get the same. Now, sometimes, sometimes if the prices are in the decimal points, as we said earlier, you might not get exactly the same number. You might get a very acceptable differences lah. The difference in terms of probably 1 unit or 2 units or 0.5 difference. So that will be okay. All right. Slightly, you will get difference if the independent variables that you put in sometimes in decimal points, but you put in whole numbers, most probably you'll get exactly the same. So that would be our price. So you call that price P star. All right. So here we say the market price, okay, the market price or the equilibrium price is equal to, so the market price is $250. Okay, it's $250. And of course, when you talk about the price, when you say 250, what it means exactly is the price per unit, the dollar per unit. Okay, so you can say the price is $200 per unit. Or sometimes you don't have to, because we know the price is 250. That is understood, it's per unit. All right, so you can say per unit or you don't have to say per unit. Okay, any question? So if there is no question, I will give you some exercise, 1.6 on the demand supply. So there are a few questions, all right, which I would like you to do. Do this. Okay, number 36. 36 is on the demand function. And then number 37, supply function. And then I would like you to do question number 48. Okay, 48 is on the, just like what we were doing in the example. 48, 49, 50. No, these are about the example that you have. So, I'm sorry, 48. Okay, 48 to 50, you can do 3 or you can do 2, So that would be your choice. And then for more exercises, you can do question number 44 to 47. Okay, 44, 47, the questions are given. Okay, so here you can do, it's up to you, you can do 2 or you can do 4, whatever, but I give you all the questions. And then, okay, and then you can do some extra question, to just to extend your understanding. So you can do question number 33 and 34. That's about shortage supplies. But do this question first, and then the 33, 34 you do last, okay? Because understand equilibrium first, and then we can do extension, okay, regarding the supplies or the shortage. Okay. Any comment, any question, anything?
No question.
It is good if you, if you do the, maybe you on your video. Okay, this guy, who is this N? N, are you here? Hello. I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay, N, can you put your name like Sarah, Safia, so that I know who you are, okay? Don't use that N. It's difficult for me, because I want to know your full name. Yang ni okay lah, at least your name is there. Apa, letak nama kucing, gambar kucing pula tu. Okay, Danish, is it your full name, Danish? Hello, is Danish there? Is this your full name or is it your full name?
No, it's not.
Give me your first name. Katakan Muhammad Danish. You put MOHD Danish. All right.
Oh, yeah,
if you just use Danish, then difficult for me to check your attendance.
Okay,
because
sure.
I use this, I use this record for your attendance. Now this is another one. Okay, I think I already say in the WhatsApp group, please use your real name. Who is this? This Iria Razali.
Yes, sir.
Put your actual name.
It's my full name.
Huh?
It's my full name.
Iria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mana tadi? Oh, your full name, okay. Okay. Okay, this is one more. Okay, don't put P. You put Mariam like everybody else. All right? So put Mariam here. So I think good. Okay. Again here, M. And put the name, you know, so that I can easily check your name. Okay, this is another one. Faris. Okay, Gani. Gani, is this how you spell your name, Gani, or is it? Do you have another name? Put your real name. If your name is Gani, Gani, put the H. Okay. All right. So that's it for the first topic. Okay, we are done. First topic we're finished. And now we will go on to the second topic. Now, before that, I just want to remind. It's not remind, just to make sure. Okay, when you do your group, because when I ask you to do the group, I make the announcement in WhatsApp. Okay, so when I do it in WhatsApp, that means your group must be based on your section. Okay, if you are section 1, then your partner or your group member should be from section 1. So must be based on your section. So if you are in group 1, then your group must compose of or consist of everybody from from section 1. Don't have, you know, if you have your partner or your group member from another group, from another section, please break out the group, because it's difficult for me to record down. All right, because when I record down your marks, will be in section. Okay, it's not random. It's based in section. So one group, section 1, all your names will be in section 1. If you are in section 2, then I have the record in terms of your names in section 2. So if your group consists of 1% section 1, 1% section 2, it will be difficult for me, you know, to record down your mark. So make sure, you know, you must have your group on the same section. If you have a problem, your friend is from another section, then put a message in the WhatsApp group. You know, we can reassign. Okay, we can see. You know, maybe there are other people who need a group member. Okay, so I want to make sure that this is clear. I don't want, when I grade the homework letter, there are groups from different sections. If you have group different section, then I will not grade the homework. Okay, it's difficult on me. I already have more than 100 students, so I don't want to be made. I don't want my life to be made more difficult by this kind of things. Okay, we have other things to make my life difficult. So that is on the group. Okay, any question, any comment? Okay, if there is nothing.
No, sir.
Huh? No. Okay, good. Now, if that is the case, then we move on. The second topic would be on chapter number 4. The second topic, chapter number 4, that would be on the linear programming and inequalities. So here now we go to chapter number 4. Here, all right, we are going to do these things. We're going to define inequalities. Okay, inequalities. And then we're going to look at a system of inequalities. Inequalities. So it's very similar to the first topic. Okay, we have a system of inequalities. Now here, of course, the system of inequalities, we're going to do only graphical method. So when you have a system of inequalities, sometimes they call it linear programming. Okay, so that's why some, you know, this what do you call it? This chapter they call linear programming. But you don't have to know that the linear programming. We just do, these two things. Number one, what are inequalities? Number two, we're just going to look at a system of inequalities, and the method we're going to use to solve this problem is only the graphical method. So this chapter is fairly short. Okay, we're not going to do the whole chapter. We're going to do maybe 1 or 2 parts. Okay, first part is on the inequalities, part the graphical method. So that would be our scheme, for chapter number 4. First, you want to define what is inequality. Now, inequality or inequalities, it comes from equation. Okay, equation means equal. Okay, you have y equal to mx plus b. Or in general form, you have ax plus by equal to c. All right. Now, inequalities, what does it mean? It means they are not equal. All right. So you have y equal to mx plus b, and they are not equal. So this sign here, equal sign with pangkoh, okay? Pangkoh atas lah. You call it not equal or unequal, not equal. So that is inequality. Okay, the expression is called inequality. That means y is not equal to mx plus b. Okay, that is an inequality. Okay, so if the left-hand side, y, is not equal to the right-hand side, which is mx plus b, then how do they relate? Now, consider you and your friend, all right? You are, say you are A, your friend is B, and you are talking about the height, okay? If your height, this is you, okay, that's your friend. If your height are not the same, okay, the height of you and your friend not the same, then how does your height relate to your friend's height?
Higher or shorter?
You know, your height relative to his height or her height.
Higher or shorter?
It can be taller, it can be shorter. Okay, so if your height is not the same, that means it can be shorter or it can be taller. Now, similarly for this, they are not equal. That means what? That means what are the possible relationship between the y and the x, or I mean the left hand side and the right hand side? Y can be bigger than, okay, mx plus b. Y can be less than mx plus b. Or, okay, we can say y can be bigger or equal to mx plus b. Y less or equal to mx plus b. So here, okay, you got bigger than, or you got equal also, okay, bigger or equal to. Okay, it can be bigger than, I should write the word then. Bigger than or larger than or equal to mx plus b. Similarly for here, it less than or smaller than or can be equal to, right? So this is what you call a restrictive relationship. It's very strict, okay? This is the second one, will be less restrictive because you include the equal sign. So first thing we're going to look at for this part, all right? Our inequality that we are looking at when we introduce the concept we're going to look at the second part. That means bigger or equal to, less or equal to. Later on, okay, after we're done with this one, then we look at the more restrictive kind of thing. Okay, all right. That would be our concept of inequality. Now, second, you want to present this in a graph. Okay, represent the inequality in a graph. How does the graph look like? Or in other words, what are the points? Okay, what points? What are the points? What points belong to the inequality? Okay, what points belong to the inequality? So let us start. Let us start with inequality, with an equation. Okay? We start with an equation because equation is something that we know. And then we relate to the inequality. Now I will do this by an example. Okay? It's easier to see. If you do the general form, you've got A, B, M, X, things like that. You know, sometimes it can be confusing. So we just deal with numbers so that we can simplify. Now let's say I have Y bigger or equal to 5x plus berapa? Plus 24. Okay. Now how does this inequality look like? Okay. And then what are the points that belong to that inequality? So we're going to do a graph. So we start with equation. What is the corresponding equation to that inequality? The corresponding equation is y equal to 5x plus 24. All right. So when you do the graph, you start with the equation. Okay. Now, how do you graph an equation? How do you graph this? Okay, fine for me. The y-intercept, the x-intercept. Okay, and then you draw the graph. You can do it now. Okay, you got the x-intercept. What is the x-intercept? That means you have to do the work lah. What is the x-intercept? Anybody?
Negative
Negative
4.8.
4.8.
Negative 4.8.
Negative 4.80.
4.8.
Okay. So here you show the work. Okay. Don't just give me the intercept. So if you haven't done it, go home, finish it up. Okay. Remember how to get the x-intercept. And then what is the y-intercept? 0?
0.24.
24.
0.24. Okay. Y-intercept senang pada situ. Alright. So now what we do, you graph the equation. Okay. You graph the equation. So when I say graph, we actually I should say draw. Okay. Draw. That means make a proper scale. Okay. Proper scale of the variables on the graph. So here you have negative 4.8. So for the x, we can use 5. All right. And again, for the y, you can use 5 or you can use 10. Okay. So let's do the graph. So you have, I draw a big graph because for this one, okay, for the concept, you need to look at the negative values as well. So you got the x, you got the y. Now let's say you use a scale of 5. So this is negative 5, negative 10. And here, I think I'm going to use 10. Okay, so 10, 20, 30. Here is negative 10. All right, first point, the x-intercept, you get negative 4.80. Okay. And the y-intercept is 24, 0.24 will be that point. So you get the equation, all right? Draw the equation. So you connect the 2 points, what you will get. Okay, that one. So this is y equal to berapa tadi? 5x plus 24.
24.
5x plus 24. Okay. So my next question is, you draw the graph. Now you want to get to the inequality, right? As you see here, the inequality is inclusive of bigger than. Okay, bigger than or equal to. So that equation already settled the problem equal to. Okay, equal to, we done. So we know, okay, we know what do we mean by equal to? That means you got y equal to 5x plus 24. Okay, I'm asking you now, for the equal to, I mean for the equation, what are the points that satisfy the equal to? What are the points, okay, that satisfy equal to for that equation? Or in other words, what are the points that satisfy the equation y equal to 5x plus 24? Which points?
All points along the line.
Will be all the points on the line. Okay, that means all points on the line. So that will be the one that satisfy equal to. So you take that point, this point, whatever the points on the line, that will satisfy the equation. In other words, the points on the line will satisfy y equal to 5x plus 24. Okay, and we already have the 2 points: the x-intercept, y-intercept. All right. Okay. So when you start with the equation, we already settled the equal to. Okay, the problem equal to, finish. So now you want to find bigger one. What are the points that satisfy y bigger than 5x plus 24? Okay. Where will the points be? What are the possibilities? The point that will satisfy bigger than b. Where are the points? Or I would say this one. You want to see y not equal to 5x plus 24. Where are the points that satisfy y is not equal to 5x plus 24? Or in other words, the point that satisfies the inequality. Not equal to, just not equal to. More general. Give me 1 point. Where are the points?
Negative 10, 30.
Where are the points? Tell me, where are the points?
Above the line.
It can be here.
Can be anywhere.
It can be here. Okay, because not equal to. All right. Similarly, for bigger than, where are the points? It can be here. It can be here. All right, but not on the line. Okay, on the line you already state is equal to. Now you want to find bigger than. So that means there are the point that is not on the line. Okay. Now, bigger than. How do you know whether it is here or it is there? So one point or one way to check is by taking a test point. So we're going to take a point, only 1 point, to test. Okay. So you want to make a test point and you're going to check. Now, is it bigger than? Okay. Because you have y bigger than 5x plus 24. So you take a point anywhere, okay? Anywhere on the graph. Either this side of the line or that side of the line. Doesn't matter. We need only 1 point. Okay, give me 1 point. There are so many points on the graph. Give me 1 point that we want to test.
5, 5.
Any point? Huh?
5, 5.
5, 5. Okay, 5, 5 will be somewhere here. So let's say we take 5, 5. Okay, that's our test point. So what we do, we substitute 5, 5, okay, into the inequality. All right. So here you want to find, okay, 5, 5. Whether does it satisfy that inequality? Okay. Okay. This is what we do. Substitute. All right. So substitute because now you want to find bigger than. All right. So we do this. You got y bigger than 5x plus 24. So we substitute into the left side, into the x. So what you get? You get 5 multiplied by 5. Okay. Okay. How do we? Okay. You substitute into the left hand side. Macam mana? How? Because my method is not 5, 5. You got 5. Okay. I think we do this. 5 times 5 plus 24. Wait. 5 plus 5 equal, you got this point, 5, 5. Okay. Now 5 times 5 plus 24, what is it equal to? It's equal to 49.
49.
Okay. Apa?
49.
49 kan?
Yes, 49.
45 plus 25 plus 24 equal to 49. But, okay, the value of y must equal to 5. Okay, The value of y must equal to 5. I mean, the value of y that you got here is 5. So question is, does this point, okay, satisfy the inequality? So is 5 bigger than 49?
No.
No, it is not.
No.
Okay?
No
No.
satisfy.
In fact, 5 is less than 49. Okay? So, what do we say? We say 0.55 does not satisfy the inequality. Okay? So that 0.55 does not satisfy the inequality. So you know what? You know? Okay. And then we use this. I think if we use the general form, because I start with a function, I start with the slope intercept form. Generally, if you look at the book, we use the general form. Okay, if we use the general form, it's easier to see. Okay, it's easier to see the relationship rather than this one. Of course, this is true. Okay, that is true. You put it into the left hand side, I mean the right hand side, and then you compare to the value of y. All right. Now, is it bigger than or less than? Or in other words, does it satisfy the inequality? If it is not, then the point does not satisfy the inequality. But the general form is much, what do you call it? Much more easier to see. Okay. So let me do this in the general form. Okay. So what we want to do, I will convert the function into general form. It's easier for us to see. So you go back to this example. You got y equal to 5x plus 24. Now in general form, okay, general form. That's why the book, they use general form. And you got what? You got y minus 5x equal to 24. So that is our general form. So you see, if we use general form, it'll be much easier to see by substitution. Okay? So here you got y minus 5x bigger or equal to 24. Okay, y bigger or equal to 5x plus 24. That means y minus 5x bigger or equal to 24. Here you can see the relationship better. Correct? So let's do that. So have you got the general form? Okay, y minus 5x bigger or equal to 24. So you got already the equation. Okay, the equation you already got. That means y minus 5x equal to 24. That one we already get. Okay, because we already draw the line. Okay, so now you want to look at the one that is bigger than. So for y minus 5x bigger than 24, y minus 5x bigger than 24. So we substitute. Okay, substitute 5 into the inequality. So what you got will be 5 minus 5 times 5 equal to negative 20. Now, is negative 20, which is 5 minus 5x, bigger than 24? That one you can easily see.
No.
You'll see here negative 20 is not bigger than 24. Negative 20 is less than 24. Okay? So, that point, 5 does not satisfy the inequality. Okay? So that 0.55 does not satisfy the inequality. So we need to find another point. All right? Now, to make our life easier, if you test one point here, 0.55 does not satisfy. That means all the other points on the same side of that 0.55 will not satisfy. So you need to find here. Okay, you need to find one point the other side. All right. So I want you to find. Okay, find one point here.
Negative 10, 30.
Okay. Negative 10, 20, or you can take
30.
any other point. So
Negative
you
10,
take another point the other side. So one suggestion, negative 10, 20.
30.
So you take whatever point you want. Okay. So do this and see whether does it satisfy or not the inequality. Because I have to stop. You know, I have to stop now because there is another class after this using the Zoom. So I'm going to stop now. You check one point, okay, at the same side as 1020, and check whether does it satisfy the inequality or not. All right, and then we will continue next class. Okay, so I think that's it for today. I will see you again.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir. I have question regarding the group, sir.
Yeah.
Regarding the group, is it all the exercise that you give us to do? We have to do it in group and we have to submit it?
No, no. The question I give you so far is only for your practice. Okay.
So
but you can discuss with the group. It's good to discuss. Okay. If you have problem, you go, and then later on, okay, probably by next week or the week after that, I will ask you to submit 1 or 2 questions. Okay. So when I ask you to submit, that one you submit together with your group. I want you to write nicely. Okay. But as of now, the questions I give you is only for your practice. Okay. So I give you a number of questions for your practice. You know, you practice until you feel comfortable. Okay. So when you have a problem with one of the questions, masa itulah you nak tanya your friend or you can ask me. That's where you can use the WhatsApp group. Okay, to discuss the questions. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I will see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Salam.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, take care, everybody.
Arigato.
Thank you, sir.